I should come up with a background that's similar to that.
Stormy, I think we're supposed to be quiet during this bit, though.
I should come up with a background that's similar to that.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to be quiet during this bit, though.
I should come up with a background that's similar to that.
Oh, and it echoes as well. Yeah, I think we're supposed to be quiet during this bit, though.
I should come up with a background that's similar to that.
Oh, and it echoes as well. Yeah, I think we're supposed to be quiet during this bit, though. Mute, for the love of God, mute.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome back to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. What is happening, y'all?
Oh, well, good. Do you know that little thing you do, the 3-minute thing? You know, our man that makes those. He should get like little pictures of us, and we can like appear from like behind the like through a window, so they like
peek around the corner. Just
I would do that. It'd be funny. I'm all good, mate. How are you? Hello, everybody in the chat. I haven't got my chat on today, so I can't say hello to everyone in the chat. But hey, everybody.
Yeah. Well, how are you, Stormy, down there? Oh! Hold up.
Second.
There you
Did
go.
you meet him?
Because he was that we could hear him through the thing, which is why. See, look, chat said we can make it happen. Beautiful.
Make it happen.
Hey, everybody.
Stormy come up going. It'd be funny. We're going to talk a little bit about Stargate today. I've seen everyone in the.
We've got some good stuff.
We are discussing Stargate a little bit, but I don't think people are going to like what we're going to say.
Yeah.
I'm unfortunate.
Shall we check email? My phone being dumb. Oh, 1 second. I'm checking my email. Shall we go ahead and start talking about what we're talking about with all the different percentages and everything? What do you think would be the best way to present that to folks?
If I tell you what, so I'll tell you what happened, basically. So one of the lovely people that we get to speak to over here at SciTrek got their hands on a report, or a report, the right word?
Report's right word.
Mm-hmm.
Basically something that apparently MGM, Amazon, and Sony got the company that I probably can't say so much about, to produce for them. It ended up being this like 78-page report, and the idea of it was they wanted to look at trends and what sort of genres people are looking at, and really break it down into loads of little bits. And they came up with these figures for them. So, for example, procedural dramas, they've decided over the last 5 years have had a 5% increase in popularity, and they project that popularity to be stable. True crime is apparently up 18% in popularity over the last 5 years, and they expect that to maintain growth of 6 to 8% over the next 5 years. So it was this sort of thing all the way through, and then they broke it down a little bit more as well into more generalizations. But the point of the report was supposed to be sort of thing, particularly sort of since COVID, or during the COVID period and during the streaming period, they really want to see how things have been affected, but also they want to plan ahead. Apparently, this isn't the sort of thing that's particularly unusual. This kind of report and this kind of research. That's unsanitized microphone problems. You guys hear me? Okay, my microphone's on. Okay, isn't it?
Yeah, it was scratchy for a second there, but it should.
Yeah, it went wonky, then it returned.
Might be my Wi-Fi. Let me just turn my settings down a touch, just to make sure I'm okay. Live stream.
Well, Batmole.
Standard definition. Audio. Ba. Okay. So hopefully that makes a difference. Anyway, so these kind of research projects aren't particularly unusual, but this one was a little bit more in depth apparently than is usual. They did actually cost me how much they charged, and it's 6 figures. So it's quite a lot of money that the company involved charged to put this report together. My phone is right next to the microphone as well. I won't do that as well. Let's not do that. That can't help. Right. So there's a couple others in here. Comedy, situational comedies like sitcoms, down 18%, and they expect that trend to continue. And I'm surprised it's not more than that. When was the last time there was a good sitcom?
There's only 3 that are going on right now. It's What We Do in the Shadows, Only Murders in the Building, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I don't think there's another one that's like jumping on it.
I would say the only one that's really that I would consider a proper sitcom out of them is maybe Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I don't think there's a sitcoms really, but there's no like Friends TV show. There is, or Big Bang Theory even. There's no one at the moment.
I mean, it's Philly's like what most people watch, and the other two, Philly's King. We got
Young Sheldon might be the only sitcom that's still like traditional sitcom that comes to mind. Is like
that just ended.
It just ended as well, yeah. So that it's kind of moot now.
Yeah. Things out of these figures though that I find interesting is anything to do with like crime is up. What was the other one? Drama, fictional crime dramas up 9% and projected to continue roughly along that trend as well. Like true crime, drama, fiction, non-crime is just basically staying stagnant. It's just like maintaining its rough popularity. But I mean, even that's quite a vague genre. So I don't quite know how some of these figures were put together. But I suppose that's the point of it being 78 pages and they break it down into...
Would that be something like, Unsolved Mysteries?
Unsolved Mysteries would be crime, drama. Because actually they've saying drama, procedural or true crime is up 20%, 18% up.
So true crime they're counting as almost documentary aspects versus the procedural.
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah. And then procedural drama is 5%. I don't know. I'm not sure a procedural drama is, if I'm 100% honest. But
maybe like you something,
Yeah, but I wonder if that's partly. I think there's I think this reflects our culture in part. That I think people are very worried about crime and things at the moment, so we watch more of it, maybe. But.
That and then I mean, obviously we can't speak on it as much, but the female demographic loves true crime. They love murder podcasts, murder mysteries, and all that. So that's got to be a good chunk of that, just percentage going up. Yeah. But
my wife is 100% going to murder me at some point, and she seems to be planning it. She loves procedural dramas. Criminal Minds is her favorite show ever, and she's reading books at the moment, and they're all murder books. And so, yeah, I think she's thinking, if this idiot has an affair, I want to be prepared and know how to get rid of the body. So she seems to be really, really planning ahead. One of the things, so the couple of things that are relevant to us as sci-fi fans and fantasy. So science fiction, basically they broke into two areas. So science fiction, fantasy adaptations. So that means adapting it from something else, a novel, book, whatever.
Like Silo or something.
Yeah, anything like Silo, yeah. Up 13% and projected to maintain. Fantasy and adventure as a general, 9% increase projected to maintain. Actually, they're projecting or a slight decline there, actually. But science fiction, future space-based, is a decline of 14% in popularity over the last 5 years and projected to maintain a decline of 5 to 10%, which is obviously relevant to us.
Yeah, I think that's Star Trek and Star Wars right there, just both on their decline. Those two big procedural things. Yeah.
So I'm going to throw this first question out to you then. We know Amazon have been delaying. We know Amazon would really wanted to do Stargate 3 or 4 years ago. And we know even 2 years ago, we know they wanted to do it. We've had loads of insiders talking about it. We had them leaking stuff to Deadline. It wasn't just me talking about it, was it? Or us on Sidetrack talking about it. We know they did. But they've delayed and delayed and delayed. Do you think it's like reports like this, but also I don't think Star Trek and Star Wars are necessarily, I think they are declining, but they're definitely stagnating in popularity. How much do you think that would affect Amazon when it's looking at something like Stargate? So it's going to cost them $200 million. Do you think that would be enough to make them hesitate?
The mic went out a little bit there, but it was, you said how much did it affect something like Stargate, and what was the second half of that?
Yeah. How much would it? I'm going to just unplug things and plug them back in. But how, if you were Amazon, would you be looking at things like this and thinking? And what I'm trying to say is, 5 years ago, Amazon looked at Stargate and went, "That's our Star Trek, that's our Star Wars. We need something like that on the platform." Now are they looking at it going, they're not ripping up any trees?
I mean, don't discount how the impact these reports have on people, especially boards of directors and decision makers, because to them it's all a numbers game. It's like, how much do we need in this? How much do we need in that? Because I know book publishing does the very same thing. They rely heavily on audience demographics. I mean, back when I was in advertising, demographics and these focus groups and all that stuff weighed more heavily than how smart the campaign was.
Yeah.
You take 20 people out of Santa Fe or whatever, and then they would fill out a form, they'd see things, or they talk about it, and all that goes into the analysis of, is it yes or is it no?
And we know they did this before. We know Amazon did loads of demographic stuff because we were told about it. They did questionnaires. They looked at how much people were watching Stargate, SGU, SGA, and SG1 when it was put on different platforms. Mm-hmm. We know that's at least partly why they did things like putting it on things like Pluto, was just to see how it did.
Mm-hmm. Gather data.
Or getting that metadata. Mm-hmm. So this sort of report stresses me. And it is true that Star Trek, Star Wars are not the behemoth they were 5 or 6 years ago.
No.
Do you remember when the first of the trilogy Star Wars movies came out and the trailer dropped?
Oh, The Force Awakens? Yeah.
Yeah, and people lost their freaking minds.
Me included.
Yeah. There's just YouTube videos of people going, "Oh my God, it's a man!"
My reaction video to the trailer. I mean, it was just, okay, you need to click this weekend.
Yeah, I just watched it going, oh.
But I was wanting to reiterate a point you made. Yeah, Stargate has the potential to be their Star Wars or their Star Trek. That is King Modi, and why in the world they do not take advantage of it, I have no idea. I mean, look, you had one hell of a movie kicking everything off, and then you had SG1, and then you had multiple spin-offs from there, and they were all successful with the exception of one, which I thought was the best. So, okay, fine. But seriously, even with all of that already content to build off of or expand upon or whatever, it's still kind of rolling around in a decision room someplace. It's astounding.
I don't even think it's that, mate. I honestly think they've got studio space coming online, and it's just deciding what's going to go in first. I honestly, hand on my heart, hand on my kids' lives, I know for a fact that it is still knocking around the office at Amazon, and there is a company, there is a third-party production company that are looking at it at the moment. But I also know that the guy I've got to speak to says I've heard nothing for about 6 months. It's just spinning wheels. It's just there's nothing really happening at the moment. And the only reason I can think of for that is that they're trying to they're waiting for the studio space to come online, which is what we've been saying for ages. But they're not all just going to come online at the same time. It's not just like they're going to open 30 studio spaces tomorrow. There's going to be a couple and a couple more and a couple. Over we were told that from the summer of 2024 they start opening. They'll start getting them in, and then it's just a matter of Amazon deciding what they're going to put in there first. What are their priorities? And I'm just wondering if now, particularly things like this, Stargate just isn't a priority. They'll do it, but they'll do it. They'll have other stuff they want to do first.
So just looking at those numbers made me think about a couple things as you were saying them. Of course, the sci-fi futuristic space-based stuff is down 14%, which is where Stargate kind of squarely sits typically. But the adaptations for sci-fi are up 13%, which is just 1% down or 1% below the 14% trending downwards on the science fiction future space. Of course, this isn't an adaptation per se, because it would be a reboot, or not even a reboot per se. It would be not a reimagining. It'd just be a continuation, I guess, would be the easiest word to say with it. So maybe that kind of bridges the gap between those two a little bit. But I think something that will hurt it in the short term and help it in the long term is Fallout. I think Fallout, being a sci-fi property as an adaptation and doing as well as it did, is going to change their tune a little bit. Obviously, I think in the short term, they're going to say, we need more Fallout before we do anything else. So I think that's going to take kind of the place of maybe 2025 or whatever we could have had in that kind of time slot there.
And that mushroom zombie movie, that's not, it is sci-fi, I suppose, but it's dystopian. Yeah, Last of Us, dystopian type of thing. I would say that's different to, my thing is Star Trek. The moment it's trying to be gritty, real. They've started swearing in it and things like this, and sexier. Stargate was never that. Stargate is softcore, I'm not sure there's a call for it at the moment. But you then see Picard season 3, which is all nostalgia and very throwback, and it was massively popular. So if Amazon are looking at anything, they should be looking at that and going, well, that worked. But that comes into the next bit I was going to talk about, really, because they broke it down into another generalization thing, and they scored out of 100% different things. So, for example, what they said was any new series that is reasonably successful, and by that they mean at least meets expectations in the first season, what are the chances that it would then go on to be reasonably successful over a 5-season run? That was basically the question. And then it broke it down. So original content, it said it scored 75%. So if something that's completely original as a 1 season and it does at least expectations, is a 75% chance it'll go on to get at least a 5-season run.
Cool.
Adaptations based on something written. So a written adaptation from a novel, comic book, I imagine, 79%, a slightly higher chance. Adaptations digital, and I assume that means like computer games and stuff, 70%. So it's slightly less likely, but that doesn't really track with what's been happening. But I've got to remember, this is over 5 years. Game adaptations have generally been shit.
Pretty bad. That's probably trending up to what it has been in recent years.
I wonder if this was done 18 months ago, 2 years ago, I reckon that score would have been much lower. I think that's been dragged up by a couple of really big hits recently.
Especially Super.
Well, yeah. Adaptations movie to TV, 73%. TV that is rebooted, which I think is a hard reboot, 62%. So even if a hard reboot of a TV show does well in its first season, the chances of it going on to 5 seasons is only 62%, 2/3 basically. A revival or continue. This is the one I find interesting, and this is really relevant to Stargate. A revival or continuation of a series that ended within 5 years, right? So the example I think is Criminal Minds, right? It finished. It was only off for about 3 years, and it came back with Criminal Minds Evolution. The chances of that being successful over a 5-year run then is 81%, which I think is the highest. So that's the highest chance. But a revival or continuation 5 years plus, so that would be Stargate, because it's been more than 5 years since it's been off our screens, 61%. So they're saying that the chances of a Stargate revival, even if it does well in the first year, of being successful over a 5-season run is 61%. That's not good.
Not great. You'd want it to be 70 to 80 in that range, and that gives you hope, and then push it even further from there. But yeah.
Oh Christ. Oh no, sorry, I've misread that. Sorry. Anyway, sorry. No, that was the score of it doing well in the first year. Sorry. Oh. It goes on to then say what are the chances of then over a 5-season run, and the numbers get even worse. Sorry, I misread it. So that is the chances of it of all those things doing well in the first year. The chances of them then going on to do well over a 5-year run is original content 82%, which is a little higher. Adaptations written 85%, again a little higher. So if it does well in the first year, it's got a good chance of doing well over 5 years. Adaptations digital 65%, which is a little lower, even if it does well in the first year. Adaptations movie to TV 71%, which is about the same. Revival continuation 5 years 50-50. Within 5 years 50%. Revival continuation 5 years plus, even if it does well in the first year, which is unlikely, is only 46%. I think it's a 46% chance of doing well. So basically, this report is telling Amazon, don't do Stargate continuation. Don't do it. It's 50-50 basically on whether it'll do well or not.
Yes, numbers don't freaking lie. They just don't. That's all there. But we know the quality of sci-fi content and projects that we've gotten in the last 5 years, literally since The Expanse. The only, I guess we've had like Outer Range. I haven't watched Outer Range, so I'm assuming people usually talk highly of it. So the only ones that I can really think of that are big and not big even, but have done well and are thought of well would be Foundation and Outer Range, maybe a Silo or something. I can't really think of many other like newer shows that have that acclaim, even within Star Wars or Star Trek, like the big two. Maybe that alone will be like, we need quality stuff. Maybe Fallout will just help bridge that gap a little bit too, because it is so new and received so well, 16 Emmy nominations, et cetera, et cetera. Hopefully that gives them in-house confidence, because they're like, we have a team that can do sci-fi well. We cool concepts, weird stuff. We've put it to screen before and we've done well with it. But the numbers don't lie at the same time. So I'm trying to be optimistic, but
when you're an executive and you're writing $100 million check and you're told by people that have crunched billions of data points or whatever it is they've done, that there's a 50-50 chance that you're wasting your money, it makes you stop and think.
Yeah, in a big way.
Or at very least, you're going to think, well, we're not giving it the budget then. We'll do it, but we're not giving it the budget.
It might get that 30, 40, 50 million budget we were talking about, not so much your 70 to 100.
You know what I think Stargate desperately needs? Because I do think there's been a slowdown of excitement about it. And we can see that from comments and things, that people are just like, oh, we're sick of this. It's not going to happen. stop going on about it, sort of thing. But it needs something like Alien Romulus to come out and be a massive hit.
Yeah.
And to like and to give them the confidence to go, right, okay, let's go and do. Because they could do a hard reboot and go a very different way with Stargate. It would be very easy to imagine something a lot darker with the Goa'uld. The Goa'uld could be done, really dark if you wanted to. Like bloody embryo going into your head and stuff. It could be. They could go a very different way with it if they wanted to. We don't want a hard reboot, but I'd still like to see what they did with it if they did one. But it'd just be interesting to. Sorry.
You're good.
Sorry, dizzy a second. It'd just be interesting to see what they do with it if they did something different. But yeah, something like I know somebody that's seen Alien Romulus, and they've basically said it's like the Alien movie and Aliens got together and had an illegitimate child, and that illegitimate child is Alien Romulus. He says it's that good. And that would be it's like for me. I'm thinking they've cherry picked the tension and the drama of Alien, but with action and excitement of Aliens.
Oh,
my Christ!
You forgot the one word that's going to supersede everything. Horror. It is going to be terrifying. Yeah, have y'all seen the new Evil Dead? They're not the new one, but the 2013 one.
Yeah.
I forget. Actually, I think that Fede Alvarez just did the most recent one. I don't know if he did the 2013 one, but he's like a horror auteur in a lot of ways, and I'm pumped for it. You know who is very pumped for it? Melvin.
Yeah. Sarah just said there the strikes killed the momentum. It did. We kept saying that during the strikes. We really don't want executives sat around thinking. We don't want this. We want them just to do it. And I dropped that that fella at MGM had told me that they'd spent an estimated 10 million quid on the movie at that point, and they just wrote it off for tax. And they did that as like that popular thing that they were doing at the time and just writing things off for tax. It's just the strikes killed the project, I think.
Yeah.
I started to think that.
For the whole pandemic to happen and then a mini pandemic within the film industry right after the fact, it was a double whammy in a lot of ways. And I think the only good thing we're going to get out of it is smaller budget films or mid-budget films coming out. We're not going to have $200 million films that are losing a bunch of money, but that's still a year and a half out kind of deal. So we'll see. But Colin, not this year, 2025. We were hoping for this year. It's going to be 2025, if so. So.
I've done a video talking about that. Hopefully it'll be out in the next couple of days, talking about whether there's a San Diego Comic-Con Stargate announcement. Spoiler alert, probably not. Yeah. I think Amazon are throwing Rings of Power is going to be all Amazon talk about at San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, I would beg to differ. I think they're going to do some. I think they're going to have a lot of Fallout. Fallout's going to be the thing they talk about the most. It's the thing that they're already talking about season 2.
Yeah. Rings of Power though, mate. They've got a big stand for it. They've got a big thing. They've got a big hall doing loads of that. Rings of Power is their immediate problem. Fallout is a bit down the line. Their immediate thing seems to be Rings of Power, and it's they're trying to. I think they're trying to mitigate their losses and they're trying to shout as loud as they can. This is different. Don't not watch it. Please watch it. This is different.
That so seems to be the first season and come to us. Yeah.
Don't worry about the first.
Can you guys see me? It looks like I froze for about 5 minutes.
We lost you for 5 seconds, mate, but you're back.
Okay. Maybe it was just me. Sorry.
Just give us the Macarena and see if we got you. You know? What it? I saw Mars. Wait, where? Oh, I thought you were in Captain Caveman for a second there.
I didn't see Captain Caveman.
How about something that gets people excited about the human future if we get our stuff together, get our shit together, essentially? I mean, yes, please. That's one of the best things about Stargate is it has always been there's some dreary stuff going along, but we're optimistic nonetheless. And honestly, I think there's still a place for Stargate, even with all these conversations, because we've talked about it before. Is I think Stargate brought MCU humor to the world, decade and a half, 2 decades almost before, or just about a decade, I guess, prior to the MCU starting with Iron Man, like in '97. Like they've had MCU humor, quote unquote, the entirety of it. But it's a little smarter than MCU humor. It's not as quippy. They have quips and stuff. But, I think that would help bridge the gap to bringing it back as well. It could find a younger audience within the humor aspect of it. But it still needs to be that badass sci-fi that we remember as well. It's they do have a couple boxes they need to tick just to make sure it's a
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like.
Who set off Siri?
Who set off Siri?
I don't own a Siri.
This is the voice of the Mr.
It's the AI taking over. This is how it starts. Siri interrupts our podcast, and then all of a sudden,
yeah.
What happens? They're talking about practical sets, props, and puppets. What happens when AI takes over puppets and they start doing creepy doll stuff?
There's a lot of CGI in Alien Romulus. It's a lot, and I know that because the guy I'm talking to helped working on certain aspects of it. So it's a lot.
They might.
But the problem is CGI is getting so good you can't tell the difference.
Mm-hmm. And it's great whenever projects use practical. It's preferable, but whenever it's not, like you said, they're not relying on CGI. They're relying on CGI to boost what they already have on set, and that's about it. That's what it's like truly meant for, because then the artist can bridge the gap instead of make something that's not there. And I'm so fucking pumped. Excuse my French, but I'm so excited.
Park. When was Jurassic Park out? 25 years ago or something? But that had...
94.
Well, I watched that at the cinema during the pandemic, and it still stands up. And that is a mix of CGI and practical solutions and practical. I think one of the Muppet guy did some work on it and all sorts.
Dan Winston.
Yeah, possibly. So
he did the big Tyrannosaur.
Yeah. So, but when it works, and when it's not, is it nearly 30 years old? God.
I was about to say it's 94, so it's got to be 30 this year.
David B says it's 97, but we can have a look. But it still stands up. You watch it at the cinema, it still looks incredible. But that's with the right mix. And filmmakers, they rely too much on CGI. I remember watching the guy that did Gone in 60 Seconds. And they were saying for all the stunts, we wanted it to all be practical stunts. We wanted everything to be practical because it's this, you see it in, the Fast X movies, and they go, "Oh God, CGI, Jesus Christ," sort of thing. And they said, "No, we want it all to be practical." But then they do the jump at the end with the Shelby on the bridge, and they're like, "Right, how do we do this?" And all the stuntmen go in, "We don't. You'll definitely die and take out a bridge in the process. You know." If we miss this, you're going through cheese cutters on a suspension bridge. So they had to special effect it, sort of thing. It was the only special effect in the entire movie. The rest of it is all practical, and it makes a difference. And to be honest, that scene where they jump the Shelby stands out like a bloody sore thumb. It would have been better if they hadn't done it. Could you imagine Speed now? How much CGI would be in Speed if they did that now?
There's no way you get that approved nowadays, which is insane. Bullet Train is the closest thing to a Speed movie I think we've seen in years, and that's CG.
There's a lot of CG in that,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's still one of the best movies, I think, in the last 5 years. I think it's phenomenally good.
So much fun.
Did you see rendering come down so much? I mean, from the Lord of the Rings days, so like 2003. That it's just, that's some CGI, it'll be fine, and it's just so cheap compared to what it used to be. It's like, let's just do that. Let's do more of that. Let's do more of that.
There was Seth Rogen was talking about that. That series he did with the priest in it, Dominic.
Preacher on AMC.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, the first season of it was brilliant. It wandered after that a bit, but the first season was so good. But the first bit where there's the spaceship going, and it's like there's a firework coming out the back, and it looks like it's on strings, and it's supposed to look like Flash Gordon. from like the 1950s sort of thing. They wanted to do it with practical effects. And the guys come back and went, it's going to cost like $100,000 to do the opening sequence if we do practical effects, or we can do it CGI in a week for like a tenth of that. And Seth Rogen was like, I really want to do it. Like, I really want to do the practical effect though. And they were just like, no, it costs a fortune. We'd have to figure out find someone to do it.
Yeah.
So it was CGI'd. And yeah, Seth Rogen was really good about it. It was like, stupid firework, like, but it couldn't. But that's the world we live in now. So,
yeah, Winston and Henson.
Yeah. I'm sure Jim Henson worked on parts of Jurassic Park as well. I seem to think he did, or at least he worked on, or maybe it was his puppeteers that did the Triceratops. When that bit, the 6 Triceratops, did they work on that? Maybe I'm not. There's something in the back of my brain from years ago. I'm pulling out.
I think I recognize something like that. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head either. Name something that came out after the 90s that original content and groundbreaking. Only a few, if you think about it. Only a few, but some of the biggest ones ever. Avatar, stuff like that. But like, they're far and few between.
Avatar original?
Yeah, I mean it's as original as Star Wars is. It's as original as Star Trek is. Those are all based off of
based off of the stories and things. Yeah.
So even though
when the first one came out, it was but The Matrix. That was like you come out of that and go, "What the hell have I just seen?" That was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That was genre defining, and you know that because everyone tried to copy it for years. And I'd say Avatar was one of those films you come out and go, shit, that was. But I mean, not just Avatar, though, is it? When we walked out of the underwater one he did, which now it's got out of my head.
The Way of Water.
Didn't you work on it?
The Abyss. The Abyss.
Yeah,
one of the best sci-fi things ever.
Yeah, I mean that's you walk out of that and go, Jesus, I've just watched something special now, sort of thing. There's not many.
No.
The first Blade did it for me. I watched the first Blade and come out and went, I want to go kill bad things.
It's such a good rewatch, Bill. I rewatched the entire trilogy like probably a month or two ago, with my family. Waterworld, game changer.
I don't hate Waterworld. My wife hates Waterworld. She thinks it's the worst movie ever made. I quite like it.
I enjoy the hell out of it. That one, and then my guilty pleasure, if I have to choose a Kevin Costner guilty pleasure, is The Postman. I love The Postman. It's not
Postman's
great.
good, yeah.
So
right, Oliver's just said that was the first time use of CGI in a feature film. I don't think it was.
No. The first one, Corridor Crew talks about it on their TV show. It's a dude that comes out of a it's like a knight, but he comes out of a stained glass. And he's just kind of like essentially just a 2D kind of CG dude that's fighting somebody.
Like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
I don't think it's that. I think it's like right before that. I think the reason they did that was for.
I remember it breaks off the thing and it walks. And I remember the scene you're on about. No, it's not Indiana Jones. You're right. How was that? But surely there's CGI in the. I think he's thinking about the water effect. What he's on about. That water effect was basically invented for the Abyss. I think that's what he's talking about. That water effect where the thing came out, it couldn't be done, and they had to invent the technology to do it. So nothing like that had ever been seen before.
Well, talk about something that still holds up too. You could watch that tomorrow and still be like, "That looks great." It just looks great.
But there's CGI in the Flight of the Navigator. Flight of the Navigator. There's CGI. In Tron.
Yeah.
Tron's way old. Yes. So, I mean, yeah. CGI goes a little bit further back than that. Can you name the first
Tron
Disney film?
81, 80, 81, 84?
Something like that, yeah. Can you name the first Disney movie that had CGI in it? Proper Disney movie. Disney animated movie.
Lion King? Prior?
Yeah. Oh, unless I'm wrong.
Lion King's, was that also 94?
It has got some CGI in it. The gazelle scene, isn't it? Right. Okay, now I'm wondering if I'm wrong. So get into the
Was it Howard the Duck?
Last Starfighter. Howard the Duck had some CGI. Last Starfighter was heavy CGI. No, Beauty and the Beast. But now I'm thinking I might be wrong.
Beauty and the Beast. Interesting.
Beauty and the Beast has, the dance scene when they're dancing. There's a big swooping scene when it comes past the chandelier and everything. I believe that was the first time in a Disney animated movie those CGI was used. But somebody's going to tell me I'm wrong. But technically, Tron was a Disney movie. But I mean Disney animated movie.
Was there any digital effects in Raiders of the Lost Ark? Or was all that really still hand done? And I'm just thinking about the comet. The album, it's dark at night. And there's a comet. I wonder if that was just hand done.
I reckon in the second one, I bet there was some CGI because in the Temple of Doom when they're going down the tunnels, some of that was definitely looked CGI to me. But you don't. The visual effects and CGI isn't the same thing, though, is it? Because it's got to be computer generated. So there are visual effects going back to bloody the 1950s but they're not computer generated. It's literally like a cutout on a thing, and they just move it like stop motion animation, almost like the day the Earth stood still or something like that. It's it wasn't a computer, was it? But so yeah.
Yeah, I just googled everything CGI and Indiana Jones like original movies, and all of just the Dial of Destiny stuff's coming up. But I do got the movie with the little knight dude that came out of the stained glass is Young Sherlock Holmes from 1985.
Oh, okay. Oh, of course it was. Yes, it was.
And the first ever used in a film in general was opposite of 1985. It was 1958 in Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo, but it was just kind of like sequences, not so much like an act. The first character, fully CG character, was Young Sherlock Holmes, but that also doesn't mean it was the first CG character, just the first fully one. So we could do a little more decipher if we wanted to, but just more,
It's where does CG start, though, is the thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Westworld. I think that was physical.
Melvin saying 86 CGI effects. Great Mouse Detective.
I think mine was right. But when you start saying something, and halfway through the sentence you think I might be making this up. I wasn't even convinced when I was saying it.
David just said, I'd love to get a sci-fi movie made from some of those old sci-fi audio stories on social media. I listen to these short stories on my drives. Reminds me of old H.G. Wells stories. Totally. I mean, aren't they, obviously I'm not a Whovian by any means, but aren't they doing the old audio dramas like even like the old TV shows? Aren't they animating them now?
Yeah, there's some of the ones like the lost scripts and things that they're animating and stuff. I've not watched them. I don't know. Not true. But yeah. Jay making something up, never. Oh, this is the numpty. I said to you a couple of days ago, some guy did a video slacking me off.
Oh, God. Dude, it's YouTube. Like, people report on stuff.
But do you know how, like, sensible grown-up YouTubers, like, say somebody's wrong, but they don't, like, call people names? That numpty called me a bunch of names.
Oh, great.
And in 12 months' time, when I'm proved to be right. But,
well, I mean, the easiest case in point, like we'll jump over this real quick, but like just your conversation with what the hell's the guy's name from Babylon 5? J.
Michael Krasinski.
J. Michael Krasinski. There we go. What radio silence for 6 months after that? Everything you said technically has been proven right, and it's just like, okay, it's not to like rub anybody's faces or anything. It's just like, hey, you can holler. More comments, the merrier. Keep commenting. Be pissy. But 6 months later. Like, think about it,
Yeah. He just said he didn't call me a single name. He did, and he also flashed up a comment calling me an idiot. But I don't care. You've got 1,000 subscribers. My channel's got 32,000 subscribers. So
we got 1,000 in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. Goodbye. Good night.
Black Ship audiobook on YouTube would make a great space opera series. I'm not familiar with it, but I do love the idea of making those just the more novels into that. We need more original adaptation, and that's going to be the stuff that's doing better according to the statistics we looked at earlier. So come on.
Yeah. I think Babylon 5's done. I think, unless the only problem, I think the only way Babylon 5 is getting made is if a smaller company takes it on. I think apparently Roku were potentially maybe like interested because they're trying to find stuff to make themselves, and they've made a couple of little things. But you know, actually, he's saying he didn't. Sorry, that guy. Can we?
Well, I just said, chill, man. No need to further anything. You came here. You came here to our channel. Relax.
Yeah, but I think he's trying to get people to go over and look at his video now. I'm like, don't bother. That's why I'm not following up. I've not commented on it. Somebody sent me a link saying this guy's slagging you off, and I'm just like, what do I get?
Yeah.
I've been doing this for years.
Give us more views. Come on.
Yeah, he's just trying to get more views. It's just clicks. But that's not something we've ever really tried to chase. But yeah. Oh, sorry. No, I have deleted the channel that he's on about, and not for any other reason than, to be honest, I'm doing a uni course in the summer, and I'm not going to have time to help you guys to do SciFi and do a side project that I wanted to do. So I thought I don't need that. And to be honest, it was still getting views, so I could have just left it. But I don't know. I'll just get rid of it. And to be honest, I didn't say anything on there that I haven't said on here. So it didn't make a difference. It was just a side project that I was going to do, but I decided not to.
Right. Well, what's the B5 animal movie?
I have no idea.
Babylon 5 animal movie?
I think he means animated movie. The animated movie was excellent.
Like space animals? I mean, kind of cool.
Space whales. I'm all for space whales.
Space whales. Space whales.
Yeah, I say it was good. I'm not massively. I think it was okay. It was a bit like nostalgia-y, but that's it.
So Popcorn said they just need to go for Babylon 6 2 centuries later, essentially start from scratch while maintaining history.
I can't. The Babylon 5 literally started with Babylon 5 was the last of the Babylon stations. That's how it literally started.
Yeah.
So you can't. It would be a hard reboot anyway if you did that, because it wouldn't be related to Babylon 5, because Babylon 5 was the last of the Babylon stations. So they can't do Babylon 6. We could do Babylon 4, do a prequel. Okay. Babylon 4 disappeared into a vortex of something. So I'm not sure you want to do that either, really.
Interesting.
The animated movies, I think, is the only way to do it.
David said, "RoboCop news." That's an exclamation, not a question mark. Is there something? Y'all let us know if there's something.
Last I heard, they were trying to find a director, so it could have come out.
Oh hell yeah! First Shadow War.
I think they should just do a Babylon 5 series around the Shadow Wars from different perspectives. So it's like exists within kind of what they were planning to do with Battlestar Galactica. So kind of within the universe, but from just a different perspective. So the Babylon 5, what we saw, still happened. But we're going to see, but there's this whole story sort of thing that was universe wide. Just see it from, and just, Babylon 5, the Shadow Wars, and just do it from different perspectives. I think people would like that. Would
Prometheus 6 work? I don't know what that means, but I like the caveats you're throwing in. Though that's what I just saw. Wormhole Extreme sounds pretty good. LOLJK. Honestly, I haven't watched Star Trek Prodigy or First X or anything like that, but do a fun little animated show like what Stargate Infinity could have been with Wormhole Extreme and tie it into the actual main series that you end up doing. Be like, oh wait, this is what's going on, and you could almost use that as a bridge the gap, kind of in a way. And what's happened in the last 15 years that we haven't had Stargate? Well, Wormhole Extreme has been on people's TVs, and this is what they've been getting, kind of deal. There are fun ways they could do that and really continue the old story that we had a little bit. Maybe not necessarily the same characters or anything, but tell story beats of what's happened in the world that, like, maybe Stargate Command would be like, yeah, leak that out to the public to make them not scared if they ever see something like this. Just little inklings of something like that. I don't know. Just ideas.
If Stargate had come back a couple of years ago and had been as popular as we think it would have been, or if the Brad Wright series had come back in 2019, 2020 and had been popular, I would have put money on we'd have seen a Wormhole Extreme animated series by now. I'd have bet on it.
Yeah, kind of like how the Star Wars animated shows also continue the stories. But you would have to add the comedy element for something like Wormhole Extreme. It wouldn't just be like a fun procedural. Yeah.
It would allow them to do a Lower Decks type series, but that makes sense, sort of thing, because it's like in universe but not. So, because that's the one thing with Lower Decks is that it's in universe but it's not, you know, and that's what a lot of Trekkies, the people that don't like Lower Decks, winds them right up because it's just stupid. It's just take the piss out of the show we love, sort of thing. And I'm like, it's not. It's a love letter to a show we love. It's not take the piss. Yeah, it's one of my favorite versions of new Trek. But Wormhole Extreme would allow you to do it in a logical way because it's not really universe sort of thing. So it would have allowed you to do something fun, I think.
It is the perfect kind of bridge the gap in a lot of ways.
Yeah, exactly. So
I could go for a Star Trek original series style Wormhole Extreme, maybe even a cartoon series. I don't know how that would work with Star Trek. I guess that's... I don't know.
Yeah. A Wizard of Oz has just said there that actually Prodigy references the Cerritos. And Strange New Worlds, obviously, there was the crossover. So, yeah, Lower Decks is in universe. It's canon. But obviously, it's also a comedy series, and it's extreme and ridiculous. And so it makes it... I think that's the point that annoys some fans, some of them, that it is canon, but it's a comedy and it's silly, and that winds them up. Like I say,
Monk just brought up a great point. Wormhole Extreme would be to Stargate as the Orville would be to Star Trek.
Yeah, Orville's another great, love letter to fans. The
other thing you could do though with Wormhole Extreme is you could do like a really serious episode of Stargate. Say you had like a big double episode and it was a big, bam, bam, bam episode. But you could then have a Wormhole Extreme version of the same episode, but comedy version sort of thing. And like, almost like a parody. So you could actually do it that it almost mirrors the series as well, which has never really been done before, but that I can think of. And I think people would love that. You could watch like the big double episode, big series finale, and then because they kind of do that with Lower Decks, I suppose, in some ways that they do mock other Star Trek. They do, the Voyager episodes and the Strange New Worlds episodes and things. But yeah, it's like a parody. It's a parody of itself, like sort of thing. So I think it'd be brilliant.
Melvin. Lower Decks is actually a live action show. We just see them in animation on the holodeck. That's all. A post Babylon 5 series based on the Rangers would be epic.
They did it. It failed immediately.
Oh, Legend of the Rangers was really okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
David, are studios more opposed to make a remake over original content? We do have a stat. And yes, but it's increasingly lower, right?
Yeah, it's just I think. And again, I think it's like if it's I think what was it like 60% chance of it being popular in the first season, but only like 50% chance of it being popular over 5 years. If they now do, but original content actually was quite high. That it was 70 something percent, and then 80% of over 5 years. So original, I think it's basically showing that actually original content is what people want, and we don't really want reboots anymore, and that actually. The statistics are showing what we all know, that generally speaking reboots don't do very well generally. But yeah, we'll have to see. But continuations, that was better. A continuation is better.
That makes sense. Grover, I don't know Star Trek yet, but I will one day, and I'm with you on the last two at least so far. Which speaking of, we did talk about this. We know Chaz is going to do his little Stargate watch parties on here soon, and as fun as watch parties are, we don't necessarily want to become a watch party channel. So, like, of course, Chaz will do Stargate Atlantis, Stargate Universe, and 7 on for Stargate, just because, we're such Stargate folks that we need to make sure Chaz is getting a Stargate in his life, and Firefly after that. But, and I'm willing to finally do it. I'm willing to secede a little bit. Let's do it. I might do some watch parties on Star Trek all the way through on Patreon, I'm thinking. I think on Patreon.
I will give you a list of episodes that are good to do watch parties for, because there's a lot of Star Trek the original series. There's 3 or 4 truly brilliant episodes, which I think is worth doing watch parties on. But there's a few episodes that are maybe worth doing because they're so bad that it's funny. When Spock loses his brain, just loses it for the first time, loses it again later. But that is an awful freaking episode. So I suppose that's it. But there are some truly brilliant episodes like Menagerie and a couple of others. Star Trek The Next Generation, there's a lot of filler episodes.
Okay.
But there's some truly epic episodes. But I can give you a list on ones to watch party for.
It's a dark egg. What? Okay. So I'm weird about chronology, and if I have the opportunity to do so, I want to watch a property from the beginning on the timeline to the end. So don't martyr me, don't kill me, y'all. But I think I'm going to start with what comes first: Strange New Worlds or Discovery, and then work my way into the original series, and then into that's what I'm talking about, like chronology. It's going to be weird.
Well, there's an argument to say that Strange New Worlds isn't the same universe as the original series.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a lot of stuff that's different. For example, Kirk had never actually... he's right, it is Enterprise first. So Kirk had never actually met Pike. I think he mentions he'd met him once. Kirk turns up constantly in Strange New Worlds. It's like, I forgot my keys, and he's turned up back on the Enterprise. He's supposed to be Captain of the Farragut. He just turns up on the Enterprise every 5 minutes. So there's a lot of stuff that's different. But Trekgate is accurate. Enterprise is actually the first, chronologically speaking.
That's the one with Bakula, right? Or however you say his name.
Bakula, yeah.
Okay.
Bakula like Dracula, yeah.
That's right, Bakula like Dracula.
Unless you want loads of clicks and people correcting you, and say, in that case, say Bakula.
The Kelvin timeline's the only Star Trek I've ever seen, and I'm okay. I'll watch it maybe at the end. Stormy, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking I'm still stuck on the CGI stuff and how much has changed over time. Have you guys ever gone to YouTube and watched some of these like completely AI developed shorts? I mean, even the scripts and everything. And I was a couple weeks ago, I was going back looking at the earlier ones, and they were pretty much suck ass. I mean, they were pretty bad. You could tell that the plot was non-existent, where it was like some sort of fevered LSD dream. But I was looking at some of the more recent ones, and not half bad. And I know this is a previous conversation we battled out before, AI versus screenwriters. But I was just thinking about when these producers like J. Michael Straczynski is actually going to say, well, fuck it, I'm going to just take an AI and do my own my own remake and see how it goes. I mean, because the AI is getting to the point to where the creators, Brad Wright, even though he may not probably own the copyright, but he could just start feeding in, data. Like he could feed in all the data of all the previous work he's done on Stargate and change some of the parameters and see what it spits out.
Our writers basically going to become nothing more than glorified editors at some point.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, and these guys, Brad Wright and J. Michael Straczynski, I mean, they've got writing talents clearly, and they could do. I mean, I'm sure they could do an edited job, there's something Harris said a few minutes ago that just sent me on this little autism trip that down that road. Is that, well, why don't these creators just forego the studio and just see what they can do? Now, there's all sorts of, IP issues and all of that, but just, creating, let's say, they storyboard the whole thing out with AI and say, well, okay, here's what we've got. This is the show. We just have to put in, hire real actors. And how much is that going to cut the production budget? And then you can fiddle with the story prompts and the highs and the lows, the structure of the story, and go from there. And how much is that going to take the risk, going back to the earlier issue of this SIS report, the risk of, okay, this is going to be 80%, this genre is going to be 40%, this is going to be 60%. How much can you boost that by using next year's AI tools? Because AI is getting crazy, and in a year, we're in a not just exponential, but a geometric expanding quality of the product.
Mm-hmm. And I think it only takes one big hit, a surprise hit, to change all these projections anyway. Somebody asked just a second ago, does JMS still own the IP for Babylon 5? He never did. It's always been owned by Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers, he did the script, he sold it to Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers then produced the show. They've always owned the IP. It's a bit like how Gene Roddenberry never owned the IP for Star Trek. It was always owned by Paramount. So JMS does not own. In theory, Warner Brothers could do whatever it wanted with Babylon 5. They don't even need to include JMS.
Interesting.
So they could do whatever they wanted with it. So yeah, he's never owned it. Well, guys, I'm up to an hour. My wife has made me promise that I wouldn't do more than an hour.
Yeah,
because I get a bad head else, and so I've been recording videos all day, so I'm definitely going to get a bad head. But okay, love you too, man.
But so yeah. Anyway, Jay, you take care of you.
Always, sir. Always. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. We're having a Star Trek versus Star Wars discussion.
Finally.
Yeah, but Stormy has done the questions. He told us what the questions were before, and we're like, okay, that's different. So we can look forward to something a bit. We can argue so that it's not going to be highbrow. Can you say that?
When the hell have we been highbrow?
We are clever. No, yeah, I forget.
Always.
I'm clever sometimes.
Gandalf DeVito hat.
Getting Gandalf.
We haven't mentioned butt plugs all the way. We haven't mentioned it at all. But yeah. Popcorn Power said, "Get a bad head, else." Yeah, I'll get a bad head. What's confusing about that? I'll get a bad head. A headache. Do Americans know that a bad head is a headache?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. So yeah. Harris, you're a sadist.
We're still staying, Colin. The what?
Nathaniel Beauchamp is just don't, for the love of God, don't watch Discovery or Picard. I'll have to think about chronologically. I'm sure it's Enterprise, technically Discovery, then Strange New Worlds, then the original series, then TNG. But TNG will, the last couple of seasons will overlap with Deep Space Nine, so you have to watch them consecutively. And then that goes to Voyager. Do Voyager and Deep Space Nine overlap? I can't remember.
Yeah. Because remember they got lost in the Badlands and they were chasing the Maquis. The Maquis was all wrapped up in DS9 and it was a tangle that just kind of sprouted.
Then you have to watch the third and fourth seasons of Discovery. No. Then after TNG, you also have to watch Lower Decks, and then you have to watch then the last two seasons of Discovery, and that's chronologically correct.
Yes.
Look at that, mate.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to Google something to get that order out, and I'll do it from there.
I feel dizzy already.
Disco's before Strange New Worlds.
Strange
New Worlds is just before the original series, but the first two seasons of Disco is before Strange New Worlds. But the third, fourth, and fifth seasons of Discovery are couple of 100 years after the Next Generation.
Right. So yeah, those last seasons of Discovery, that's the latest in the timeline that we have of Star Trek and anything, unless there's something really crazy in a book or a comic book or something.
Yeah, and that Yorkshire Geek, I haven't said hello to in ages, mate. Hello, mate. Is Prodigy's after Voyager.
Oh, fuck. Okay. I forgot Prodigy. Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
But before Lower Decks. No.
You know, if Lower Decks encompassed everything, they had time travel, they could have really just the whole gamut.
Yeah, and then you got to watch the movies as well. Right. Goodbye, guys. I'll see you next week.
Take care. See you.
Star Trek versus Star Wars debate. Tequila bingo. Ba.
Have fun, guys. See you next week.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
See you, Jay. Be safe, man. Oh, okay. What craziness are we jumping into now? What do we got?
I got no idea.
There's so much. The Orville can stand alone. I like it, but not Star Trek. Okay. What Melvin's telling me to not watch Orville first and to watch it last. Should I watch Orville to make myself more intrigued with Stargate? Not Stargate, sorry, Star Trek. Or should I just wait till the end and be like, okay.
Well, you might as well, you might as well get all of the Star Trek out of your system, right? And then plow into Orville, and then you'll get all the jokes.
All right, cool. Okay, because
that would be my feeling. I agree with Icarus. First Contact is probably the best movie. It's really good.
Oh, sweet. Justin, is that a debate next weekend? Yes, we're gonna do that Saturday, and then usual Sundays like this. We're gonna do Star Wars versus Star Trek. Stormy's gonna debate whatever way I'm pointing over here. Not debate, moderate the debate.
Moderator. And the questions are on the other side of this pad. Other side of this pad, there's a question. I'm reading them right now.
Jet Screamer? Hello. That's a hilarious name. Orville's comedic relief. Okay. Colin said Orville's awesome. Also Resident Alien. I'm caught up on Resident Alien. I'm so happy about being caught up on Resident Alien. It's so damn good. There are episodes where I roll my eyes a little bit because it gets a little political at times. But besides that, hey, it's a fun damn show and it's got heart. It has heart in it, and I like that. I don't know. I'm so upset that I haven't watched Resident Alien as it came out, but that's no longer.
I've yet to start on Resident Alien. I've just who asked what I was watching. David B was asking what I was watching, and so I've been doing a lot of binging. I binged through Firefly because I just had to watch me some Firefly. And I started on Enterprise yet again. But there's one thing that I'm almost ashamed to say that I watched. It was Roald Dahl's Matilda the Musical. I know. So
that's not the one with Emma Thompson, right? As Turnbull? However you say it.
This was the musical that was on Netflix.
So no.
Right. So, and it's Matilda. It's a musical. And so that's quite kind of something that's, out of character for me. But it all started on TikTok. So I was, and there was this, somebody had taken the dance scenes near the end of Matilda and made it with Rob Zombie, Dragula.
What?
Oh my God, did it ever hit? I mean, it was just so well done. And it was just fucking awesome,
I gotta always do a little Rob Zombie.
It was the dancing, here's the kid hitting on. Oh God.
We heard you for the most part, but it started getting robotic at the end there.
Okay, so the dancing, and there's the kid with the microphone, just swinging off the banister. It was all so well matched, and I watched it over and over and over because it was so entertaining. I said, okay, fine, I got to go watch the original. and just see how it is. And the movie is good. I mean, the Matilda the musical is really good.
Good.
But man, it was so disappointing not to hear Rob Zombie. But yeah, so if you find Matilda the musical Rob Zombie on TikTok or Facebook or whatever videos, it's probably someplace on YouTube as we speak. But it was just raging, man. It was raging. And so that's about all I've been watching. And for some reason, I think my computer's getting ready to die.
Oh God.
Yeah, so
that's fun. Monk says after Zombie's take on the Munsters, I want nothing to do with them, and that was not any good by any means. But I do love this Zombie. He's got a spot in my heart, a zombified dead spot somewhere down in the deep part of my heart.
I've never seen Megan 2.0. I've never seen that.
Oh, not Megan. There's not Megan 2. Are you talking about a second Megan? Has that been?
Is there? I've not even seen the first one.
The first one's great. You should. It's on. It's either Paramount or Peacock. I think it's on. It's one or the other. But they have the unrated version, and that's the one to watch. That's the one to watch. Oh, they announced it. Ooh, well, get me excited. Come on now, that's some good sci-fi horror, AI horror right there. Talk about AI and inheriting puppets kind of deal. It's insane. First one was really well done. Mm-hmm. Stormy, are you going to this week catch? Oh my God, I just saw it. Where is it? Deadpool and Wolverine.
I have no plans to go see it. I mean, I will see it eventually, but not this week. It's just my work schedule's insane. Hectic,
well,
yes.
Sunday, I'll let you know because I'm seeing it Thursday at 4 p.m. and Friday at 7:30 p.m. So
cool.
Oops. Have you watched The Boys lately or anything like that? Any good TV?
I'm the world's worst contributor here this weekend. I did watch the first episode of the new season of The Boys, and I've got 2 episodes left to go on The Acolyte. And I'm so disappointed because I still haven't seen any of the hot lesbian action that Twitter claimed for almost 2 months before the show started, claiming it's going to suck. And I still have not gotten my lesbian fix yet. I'm just,
lesbian witches.
Kathleen Kennedy has certainly let me down because all of the fanboys over on TikTok and Twitter say, oh, it's going to suck because it's all lesbians.
No, it just sucks.
So I'm holding out. Have high hopes that all of those enriching stories from, I don't know, Star Wars on Pride Weekend. I'm guessing that's what it is. That's what these fanboys keep, claiming it is, but I'm pretty sure it's not.
I think if you're following the discourse, it's kind of past that. It was past that after episode 3 because this point, because it was totally that for a second. And then people were like, wait, we can't even make fun of that anymore because the writing's that bad. Like, it's just shitty writing for the entire series, and it's so bad. It's so, I want it to be so good. And there are great moments of action. You still have some good action left, which is great. Just the writing's so bad. It's like, hey, don't first of all, give the certain part of the fan base that's going to start talking about lesbian witches. Don't fuel their fire, first off. And second off, second off. First off, write a good story that everyone's going to enjoy that no one can make fun of, give us just good Star Wars. That's what we want. That's what we want.
Hey, hats off to Jet Screamer. I went to go see Rocky Horror, I think my theater, in theater viewings 5 or 6. And I used to go when growing up and back in college. There was a theater that played it every weekend, Friday and Saturday, for years, and I went all the time. Great movie. One of my favorite theaters out here. When I lived in Hollywood proper, that first year that I moved out here. There was the ArcLight Cinema, the Chinese Theater, and those are always great. Yeah. You're kind of heralds and stuff. But Tarantino's New Beverly Theater,
always has like old westerns playing. Always has something like Rocky Horror Picture Show. There's weekends out of every like the first weekend of the month, he'll have the same movies playing every month, and then add 1 or 2 new ones, so on and so forth. And oh my god,
that's cool.
It's great. Icarus is a little behind, but I love it. Space whales make everything.
Space whales. Yeah.
Oh wait. Oh damn it! I didn't read the second sentence fast enough. I already saw it. I travel back in time to report it's awesome. Deadpool, my fellow Canuck Wolverine. Hi. Well, have you watched anything else this week? I'll jump into what I watched in a second here. If
I think that caps it for.
What else was there?
I watched the Republican convention.
Oh, okay.
That took up a lot of time. I had blocked that out and tell you, what else have you watched? I said, I must have spent some time of my life watching something. That bullshit. So yeah, that went on for hours, and it was. I can't use the C word here, can I? God damn it!
You can spell it. Oh, so you're
how do you spell catastrophe?
Carefully.
So yeah, there was I really want to put a maxi pad on my ear now, but I know that's not a good thing. Look for me.
Mr. Ed says he's been watching Evil. Evil's a show that I've really wanted to get into. But
popcorn power.
Wow, that's funny.
There's no science in the just it's like, anti-science fiction. I think that's the genre we're looking at.
Monk spelled it out for you. That's great. Reality's fun, eh? Politics, I'm out. Yeah, no, we're not saying on politics. Don't worry.
No. That was just the crap that I'd wasted my time on this week.
Yeah. No. We're not saying on it.
Else. That's a lot of wasted. Oh, that was it.
Yeah. So this week, there's movie theaters are. I love to say movies are back, but it felt like it this week, which was really good. I saw a bunch of movies. I saw the ones I saw that didn't have as many people in them was Kinds of Kindness. Probably had the least amount of people that I was in there with, which is Yorgos Lanthimos' new film, and it's kind of it was an anthology. Jack Black, is he safe? Oh God, it was okay. It wasn't as good as like I expected something different. I didn't realize it was going to be 3 different stories instead of just one procedural film. So it was 3 shorts, and that it threw me off. And none of them were kind of, they were all good. It just wasn't what I was expecting, so I didn't really love it as I jumped out. The Bike Riders, though, was probably the second least amount of people in there because that's just, it was supposed to release last year, didn't release. Marketing was all sent out last year, so now it was kind of like, okay, we're just releasing it now. Tom Hardy, Michael Shannon, Austin Butler, of course, and a bunch of other people. It's a really good movie. Jodie Comer in there. It was really good. I didn't love the way it ended. I think Mike Feist should have been the main character, but so on and so forth. To get into a little sci-fi-ish, it's sci-fi without being sci-fi. It's science fiction, but not really sci-fi. Was Fly Me to the Moon, the Greg Berlanti film that came out about the moon landing and how.
Oh yes, it's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek comedy.
Yes and no. It's got comedic elements for sure, but it's talking about how NASA landed on the moon, and at the same time was also trying to fake the moon landing just in case that wasn't going to work. And kind of bridge the gap. And it's a fun little thing that they do. And of course, what happens in the movie happens in the movie, but we don't know what happened in real life, do we? I'm kidding. I think we still see the actual moon, but whatever.
Yeah, now you can actually see the tracks on the moon with a strong enough telescope. So I was going to ask a question. David B, really likes Evil. What is that stream on so I can catch it this week? What is it?
I want to say it's Paramount. Y'all don't quote me on that, but I think it is Paramount.
Is it Paramount?
Mm-hmm. But it's who's the actor? Mike Coulter, who played Luke Cage in the Netflix.
Okay.
He's great.
Yeah, So I'll try to start that. As soon as I find all the lesbian episodes for Acolyte, then I'll head over to now. All of Acolyte's on streaming, right? The final
Yes,
episode.
it's all out.
So I can get through those, then I'll track down Evil and start it on it.
Mm-hmm.
Or David B is going to make me feel really bad next week. I can feel the peer pressure already.
The truth of the whole Kubrick Moon thing is that he did borrow a lens from NASA. Yeah, that's about yeah. It's an alibi channel in England. Evil on Paramount Plus. Perfect. Thank you, Mr.
Well, the whole thing of Kubrick, shooting on the moon, or shooting, the moon shots. I mean, that's true. He did shoot them all, but Kubrick, he always has and demands to shoot on location.
Well, of course. The first moon landing was not Neil and Buzz. It was actually Stanley about 30 minutes before that, making sure all the cameras were set up and everything. He was like, all right, we gotta get the entire set set up proper, who's got crafties over here in the corner on the moon,
Back to Popcorn Power. Those are you can see those were first captured by satellite flybys. We've got a fleet of satellites orbiting the moon now from various countries. And with a powerful enough telescope from the Earth, you can definitely see scars on the moon that we left behind from the landings. So I mean, you can look at it and see it. We landed on the moon, people. Yes, we did.
That was just to add on to what you were saying. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, I mean, and it's. I mean, we've landed all sorts of crap now on the moon, and some successful, some failures. But so, I mean, if we can, the moon was definitely doable in '69.
All right. So Kubrick was filming Barry Lyndon, and he needed a lens that would capture the movie without exterior lighting. So he borrowed the lens from NASA. Yeah, I mean, it's everything's all documented, But that would be awesome. The stage show was kind of like old 50s music, whereas the movie was more acid rock, so punk is a good progression. What are we talking about? Flying to the moon? Or...
I'm lost.
Yeah.
Colin Leet was talking about, we placed mirrors on the moon. I think that was Apollo 11? And so you can shine a laser at specific coordinates on the moon, and a mirror will reflect it back. That's how we can determine the distance from Earth to the moon.
Oh, yeah. Because I didn't even think about that. No shit.
And anyone can do that. You just that's any science department of any university or college can do that.
Look closer to the moon, you can see the catering in the corner, the crafties table up there from Kubrick.
Moon Craft Services.
How
are you going to eat your burger with your helmet on? I'm just really confused.
I always thought it was that Kubrick developed his own lens with the help of NASA. Or it was Kubrick's best movie.
Now I got to go watch in 2001.
That, or honestly... Was it Jet that just said it a minute ago? Barry Lyndon? He was talking about Barry Lyndon. I love Barry Lyndon. It's been so long since I've watched Barry Lyndon. It's so good. Super underrated Kubrick, which is hard to say, but people forget it's even a movie. Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room. I want to try and see those scars in the moon now. I have to find out how powerful those telescopes have to be, government-owned or consumer.
Oh, it's government-owned or universities. Some, I know. I think Caltech has one. I mean, it's not something you can go to Walmart and buy. It's not that you really need a powerful scope, but I think allegedly the one that's in Peru. Would be able to capture those images. But yeah, I mean, those are going to be there for a very, very long time, and there's so much hardware we left behind. It's just,
Well, my generation, we're going up there and we're going to do something. I hope so. Fingers crossed. Putting that in the world, manifesting that BS. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of friends that's working on moon projects right now. I think everybody in commercial space is. Either lander, either. Oh, I'm breaking up. I think.
We can still hear you perfectly fine, though.
Oh, you hear me? Okay, so yeah. So anyway, yeah. A lot of people I know, they're doing landers, they're doing reconnaissance satellites, they're doing a landing infrastructure, habitats, and I think everyone is going to depend on SpaceX or Blue Origin to actually be to provide the launch and propulsion systems to actually get there.
Okay. Colin saying Caltech has one, Georgia Tech, Max Planck.
Oh yeah, the Max Planck Observatory. Yeah.
Could I break into Griffith and find the right telescope?
I don't know if Griffith, if unless they've installed something new, I don't know if Griffith has the optical acuity to see that.
I doubt it. They're more of a.
I mean, think about it. It's a footprint from a long, long way.
From 60 years ago now. Like, wow.
Yeah.
I learned about mirrors on the moon from watching The Big Bang Theory. True story.
True story. There was there's a lot of science in Big Bang Theory.
Monk said, worst moon movie, Moonfall. Best moon movie? What do you mean? So bad.
The best moon movie was Moon.
Yeah, that's a little rock.
Oh my God. He was robbed. He absolutely deserved a Oscar for that performance.
Sam Rockwell is I even forget about him, but he's one of the best working actors right now. Easily one of the most underrated, but one of the best working actors right now. My top 5 that I always say are like my favorite working actors. They of course change, but I'm typically saying like Mahershala Ali, John Bernthal, Viggo Mortensen, people like that like don't necessarily pick the largest of projects, but make sure everything they do is freaking fantastic.
Yeah.
And Sam Rockwell is inherently one of those folks. Inherently.
He so deserves an Oscar for that one, for that performance. It was just incredible.
Wait, I put this on the screen. I didn't even read it because we started talking about movies. Stormy, flashing people outside your car does not count as a moon project.
Damn it.
I put that on the screen and didn't even read it. I'm so upset. Sam Rockwell in The Green Mile, that was probably the first I ever saw him in a movie, and freaking amazing.
Probably same here.
So good. That's one of those movies, that and Shawshank Redemption were probably 2 of like my first film memories, because they were just those movies that if my parents saw them on cable, yeah, they're sitting down and watching them, you know? So there's just things that I always remember, and those are so great. So great.
The first movie in the theater I ever went to was The Land That Time Forgot. That was an Edgar Rice Burroughs adaptation. And that was a bit ago, and I had just read the book like a month or so ago, and I saw it was in the paper, and I said, I gotta go see this. And it was for me as a kid in like the 70s, early 70s. Or was it? Anyway, yeah, early 70s. It was amazing.
Hell yeah. Monk's saying Sam Rockwell, the 3 billboards in Ebbing, Missouri's Chef's Kiss. I still haven't seen the entirety of it, but everything in it is amazing. It's actually the director of it is a British guy that was doing a tour of the American South. It's not 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri at all. It's 3 billboards outside Vidor, Texas, 20 minutes from where I was raised is where the things are. And it's not – we all try to avoid that 20 minutes. We don't like to go that direction. But yeah, it was insane. It was a big thing in my hometown. We were like, oh my God, this is actually kind of happening. Why didn't they call it from Vidor? It was like, well, there's a couple good reasons, honestly. But yeah, no, that's Sam Rockwell and everything. Sam Galaxy Quest. I don't have a name. Red shirt.
He was a red shirt, yeah.
Mr. Ed saying Minute of Space was 2 things. Minute of Space is an American black and white science fiction television series produced by Ziv Television Programs Incorporated that was broadcast by CBS from September 30th, 1959 to September 7th, 1960. Minute of Space was not set in a specified time period, but clues dropped in the scripts indicated that it took place between the mid-70s and mid-80s. The first moon landing would have occurred in 1975. Oh, cool. But yeah, Rockwell was also great in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He's great in everything.
Yeah, he's exceptional.
Especially, I love it when he does some sci-fi stuff. He's really good in sci-fi, but he brings that like, he's a goofy dude. He's a goofy dude, but he brings a certain sense of reality with his goof, if that makes sense. I don't know a better way of saying that, but like, he's goofy and pertinent all at once, and and portray that on screen very, very well.
Was he the antagonist in Iron Man 3?
Iron Man, and I guess a couple different things, but he's I guess Iron Man 2 was his big one though.
Was it 2? Okay.
Because he had Mickey Rourke was his kind of guy that he
right.
Whiplash, yeah. His name in Galaxy Quest was Guy. Originally, Brent Spiner's TNG standing guy Vardaman was going to play him, but Sam stole the audition. Well, damn right.
Of course he did. He had it probably before he went in.
Should I try to say that? What is this?
SciFi Beeblebrox. That's the character he played in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, I was like, okay.
SciFi Beeblebrox was the president of the universe, and then he stole the spaceship, the Heart of Gold, which had what was the name of the drive? Was it Infinity Drive? Can't remember. But anyway, yeah, he stole the Heart of Gold.
This is a show that I've been needing to catch up on in a big way for a long time now. Ever since the first season, I was like, oh, I'm going to watch that. Second season.
Improbability Drive, right. Jet Screamer is on it again. Yes, the Improbability Drive.
Sweet. Yeah.
If you haven't read The Hitchhiker's Guide, it's a quick read, and it is absolutely hilarious.
I watched it when I was a kid, so I don't remember much about it. I just remember that Martin Freeman. I was like, I think I watched it prior to The Hobbit, so I was like, just excited about seeing Bilbo.
So but we'll definitely read the book. It's a weekend. Read because it is infinitely better. So I've got a bit of an opinion of Hitchhiker's Guide. The book is definitely the best. There was a BBC miniseries, The Hitchhiker's Guide, that was done in the 70s, and I think it is better than the movie.
Oh, okay.
I thought the movie was down. That's just me. Well, you can bring opinion. It can be totally honest, but yeah, the BBC movie, and then they also did a series of radio plays. Also, the BBC did. I've listened to those, but there was just something. I mean, bad special effects and all that stuff, but it was just it seemed more Douglas Adamsy than the movie did, the more modern movie.
Okay. BBC's series are great. We watched earlier this year. I love Hitchhiker's Guide. Agree with Stormy. Original radio shows, original and still best. Or the radio shows, original and still the best. This isn't like my Abyss. Trillian, the British Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, married Peter Davison of Doctor Who fame. Oh, that's kind of cool. Also, Justin said, "Save yourself and don't finish Acolyte."
But how am I ever want to get to the lesbian scenes?
Oh, you already passed those. That was episode 3.
Damn it! I'm so just.
You get some more in episode 7, but not really.
I mean, there's no hot astromech action. None.
No. You don't get any solo hot astromech this time.
Crap.
Oh damn. So okay. Last thing we said was Fly Me to the Moon. That was about a half full theater, which made me happy. Now, right up next door, it wasn't a full theater, but maybe 5 or 6 seats missing from a full theater, was that new Nick Cage horror movie, Long Legs, this week, and that was good. It wasn't great. It wasn't like the scariest thing ever, but it was a really solid horror movie, really solid. But what I did see this week, every single seat was filled. And I think I actually might enjoy more than I don't know if I said it last night, but I don't know if I 100% like it more. I think I enjoy it more at least than the original. Twisters, baby. Twisters was so good.
Really?
So good. You will love it. You're gonna love it. Glenn Powell's gonna come in, screw the Arkansas aspect. His character's from Arkansas, but he's about as Texas as you can be. He comes in there going, yeah, like, all right, you're not from Arkansas, dude. But it was so good. It was really good. But besides that, TV shows, finished Acolyte, finished The Boys. I finished Resident Alien, which made me very happy, of course, and we did talk about that a little bit. You would love that show as well. I started just because I love me some Neil Gaiman, and I did enjoy The Sandman a lot when it came out. There's a spin-off series called Dead Boy Detectives that came out, and it's all right. It's okay. It's got some really good elements, but I don't know if it can take itself. I don't know if it knows what it's trying to be. It's totally rated R and totally like teen, kind of preteen, like YA at the same time. And it does bridge the gap decently well, but it's hard to watch it and know what it's hard to watch it and try to figure out what the filmmakers or showrunners wanted you to get from it while you're watching it, you know?
Can we go back to Twisters for a second?
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, so was it a reboot of Twister, or was it like an extension, or like Twister 2, or what was, or is it just something totally else different?
Technically, it's a sequel. It doesn't. It's only because, like, Dorothy, the things that they use to get sucked up into the Twister.
Right.
They start off with another Dorothy. That's so like literally tiny little like things. They don't even say like, hey, old people used to do this same thing 30 years ago. They used to do this same thing with old Twisters. They don't take the time to do that. Helen Hunt's not in it. Obviously, Bill Paxton's passed away, so he's not there. But it's a sequel without even acknowledging the original stuff.
You know what's so sad about that is Seymour Philip Hoffman.
Well, I would love him, Alan. What's his last name? Alan Ruck, and then Helen Hunt to all come back eventually. But I think it was really smart to do it the way they did it.
Well, I understand that.
The only change Hoffman, I would have made
when did Hoffman die?
Oh, and Hoffman's dead. Oh, yeah.
I mean, because he died way too early. He was
heroin. Freaking hell, man.
What was the last thing he was in? Was it
the Hunger Games or something right after Hunger Games? Mockingjay. It was like 2013 or 14.
Yeah. I remember the look on his face when they were describing the F5 tornado in Twister. And it was like, that kid's going someplace, and it was just the Capote, and it was just
the man.
I mean, unfortunately, the Hollywood Walk of Fame is littered with people that died too early with their own weaknesses. It's just drug abuse, even stuff you get from the doctor is just Heath Ledger is just Philip Seymour Hoffman. Now that's kind of when I saw Twisters, it is just I've been mourning Seymour Philip Hoffman ever since, and that's what I was wanting to ask you, if it's a remake or they bring back his character at least. But if it's if it's kind of technically a sequel, I don't think they would have that. Oh well.
They both died too soon. Paxton died 10 years later, and now still too damn soon. He still had another 20, 30 years life left in him. You'd hope.
I mean, it was like, what was he, like 16 when he did Aliens or something? I mean, he's so young back then,
I love some old, Twisters and then Boogie Nights, I think, are two of my favorite Philip Seymour Hoffman's, like, secondary roles where he wasn't, like, the main character.
Right.
If you just want someone in there that's going to be a good character actor for a little bit, he was your guy. He was your guy. Didn't Coke not make a commercial full of dead actors? I don't know. I'm not sure. I wouldn't put it past them, but still, I don't know.
Didn't they do like something? It was Christmas that was. It was actors from the 30s and the 40s. One of the
maybe.
But that was like in the 70s, I thought.
I don't know. I didn't realize we lost so many people that were in Twister. Half the main cast, Helen Hunt and Alan Rucker.
Oh, the commercial from Twister actors. Oh,
Or I think that's a different one.
I think Coke has done, brought back, like scenes from movies of dead actors. I don't think they've done anything like with AI or anything like that. God, I hope not. Well, if they did, man, can you imagine the shitstorm?
Oh, look, Oliver, he's proven he's helping us prove our point here. I love Philip Seymour Hoffman in Mission Impossible 3. That character should have been so freaking cheesy, but he made it compelling. Same thing with Boogie Nights and Twisters. That character should have been cheesy.
That's my point. I mean, he was really, even in Twisters, he was just, he had that one look that I'm remembering from the 90s. That kid's going to go someplace.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Hoffman was great as Truman Capote. He was really good. Michael saw the OG Twister in theaters in '96. I wasn't alive yet, but it's I watched it as early as I could.
You're such a youngster. Why did you have to say that? My God, Harris.
Well, we were talking about Jurassic Park earlier. I'm glad neither one of y'all heard it.
Trigger warning was statements like that.
What is Nate saying? He's saying big money and fame can be shocking and hard for some people to handle. You get introduced to new stuff like drugs, and it's hard to say no to be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and after 10, 15 years of doing all those, it'll catch up to you in a big way.
Yeah.
And I think I kind of did with Hoffman there. I totally have an eyelash in my eye. It's killing me.
Your eye is looking really pink. You got pink eye or something?
No, I just started. I think I've got a freaking eyelash in there.
Oh.
That is getting me. Here. Oh, got it. We're good. We're good.
Good deal.
Harris saying I wasn't alive in '96. Oops, sorry, Nate. Paxton has the unique distinction of being killed by a Terminator, a Predator, and a Xenomorph alien. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And, well, I guess he didn't die from a tornado.
Is he like the Sean Bean of sci-fi?
Kind of. Hold on. I got to put some eye drops in this eye. There we go. Oh, here. I'm going to take my camera off for 20 seconds while my eye readjusts to life real quick. Why is it? It always has Schmook on here instead of me. That cracks me up. Does Harris know? I have many VHS tapes. I still lived in the early 2000s. But Timothy Chalamet is getting there too. Hostels, Dune, Lady Bird, Wonka, Call Me By Your Name, Bones and All, etc. Yeah. Hostels, Dune, Lady Bird, and Wonka, I think, are all examples of him really. Well, maybe not Lady Bird. Lady Bird and Bones and All kind of sit in your own place. Call Me By Your Name was a good thing for him. I still do not like that movie, even though I love Luca Guadagnino, the director. But the dude, I don't know if he's Bill Paxton, but he's totally carved out a space in the film medium for himself, which is really cool. This is what happens when Harris lets his dog lick his face.
Yeah, Harris.
His dog is gone, so now it's just my cat. So if my cat's licking my face in the middle of the night, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
Yeah,
Harris with short hair. This is Schmook. He's my co-host over there on M-Cubed. It's not me. But no, short hair me does look very different as well.
I was going to say, that with short hair really does change. Oh, it's not him.
Oh, wait, hold up. You were cutting for a second there. What'd you say?
I looked at the profile pic and I was looking at it and said, wow, that short hair really does make him look different. Then it's like, oh, it's not him.
Different person. Jamie's back though. He's viewing now. He said, I watched Two Guns last night with my boy Bill Paxton at his best, not long before his heart operation, and so much fun. Two Guns is so much freaking fun. And do what Jamie says. He might not be on screen anymore, but you got to listen to the man. You got to listen to the man.
Hit the like button.
You know.
Hit.
Nate said he's going to see popcorn. I just read popcorn right above that chat. I'm going to see Twisters and Deadpool this weekend. Finally, some good cinema watching. That's the thing. This entire year has had excellent cinema watching, but it's been very very like small, much more smaller films. There have been some decent sized ones kind of sprinkled, but they're much more things you have to seek out instead of things that are like advertised that like, oh yeah, I should go check that out this weekend. Now we're getting to that, which is good.
Yeah, we're getting to that.
Jamie said he's cooking waiting for it to burn.
Yeah, that's the direction I'm gonna have to go. Is head to the kitchen, make sure I maintain my blood sugar. So I'm gonna have to bid thee adieu.
Well, let's call it a day then. The only other thing that I guess that I'll be watching today, I'm not sure if you're watching. Are you watching House of the Dragon?
Yes.
I'm
telling you, the Republican convention blew my schedule out of the water, and especially with all the MaxiPad stuff, and it's like, well, what the fuck is going to happen next? There's a MaxiPad invasion. There's of course, the unfortunate assassination. Now in the killer or the assassin, having a drone flying around, it's just like exactly how far down the crazy rabbit hole are we going to go before November? I'm just saying. So yes, I have to watch House of Dragon. I got to get caught back up. I got to remember Saturday.
It's the only thing that can satiate us,
right? Oh yeah.
Comment.
Right. Yeah.
We need now we have to find in Dr. Grant somewhere. We're going to call you Dr. Danny Gandalf Grant.
Danny Gandalf DeVito, yeah. And with Dr. Grant. Dr. Gandalf DeVito. No, let's call it Professor. Yeah, we'll think of something.
Dr. Professor. Mr. Dr. Professor.
Mr. Dr. Professor.
Damon needs to get out of that castle. But before we go, tell me, this is the most frustrating thing for House of the Dragon with me right now, because it's so great every little bit. And I'm just like, every time we cut to Damon, I'm like, get out of Harrenhal. Go. Find something else to do. Go. Get on your dragon. Go do something.
Leave Harrenhal alone. Just leave it alone.
God. Anyone see the new Anthony Hopkins series on Amazon? I saw of it. I have not seen it though, but it has Ewan Ryan from Game of Thrones.
I have not seen it. A new Anthony Hopkins. I have not watched it.
We'll call you Math Gandalf. There we go.
Math Gandalf. Oh my God.
Just rewatched Tombstone with Paxton, my favorite Western. Great movie. Tombstone's so good. But I guess, is there anything else you want to add in there before we hop out of here? We're about an hour 48 into her.
That was it. That was it.
Hey, oh.
I couldn't lengthen this too much for Jamie because he had to go burn his food, but I did it to you and I got an extra 48 minutes out of it, so I'm proudful.
It was beautiful. Hey, the two of us can ramble on for forever. I think it's an American. I
got to catch up on Acolyte just to make sure that there's no, just to see for myself that there's no hot lesbian action or hot Astro mech droid action. I got to get started on Evil, and I got to catch up on House of Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, there's no conventions next week.
No, well, yeah, because San Diego Comic-Con and stuff. Not like we'll be talking about that all week and all.
No, we won't. We will not shed any light on that.
Of course not. And
all right, guys,
we'll make a quick little announcement real quick. Nothing's happening just yet, but we're gonna, as y'all know, in the comments or the community section, we have talked about doing some Fallout content here soon. And Jamie said, I have a question. Not really. R&B is a panel at San Diego Comic-Con. So, speaking of San Diego Comic-Con, that's kind of where I'm bridging here, is Greg, who y'all all know from like the strikes when we would have conversations and debates. We had a debate with Jamie and Greg about the strikes, which was great. One of our better ones as well. He is going to be joining Sidetrack and doing some Fallout stuff with us throughout August and so on and so forth. So, y'all all recognize Greg. You'll see him a lot more around. But R&B, Robert Meyer Burnett, has a panel at San Diego Comic-Con, and Greg has yearly tickets for Comic-Con. So we at least have somebody from Sidetrack at San Diego. I can't even speak. It's at San Diego Comic-Con. So we do have someone on the floor, and we can kind of, try to get some stuff from him as it happens, which will be cool. But Greg argues very well. But I won. Yes, you did, Jamie. Yes. I loved that debate. That still might be my favorite one overall. Besides that, I think we're there. Take care, everyone.
Hey, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. And Jamie, go burn your food. Love of God,
Yes.
get it done. Quit being such a poser.
We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And, don't forget to do a little bit of